Well, hello doll fans and welcome to my channel where I sit and talk about, well, dolls. Sometimes it's Barbie, sometimes it's Illy, sometimes it's Monster High, sometimes it's a Disney princess, you get the point, must I carry on? My name is Daniel and I am the Barbie book boy. Well, I did it. I completed the Wave 4 2026 Creeproduction Boo-riginal Monster High Extravaganza doll line by acquiring, last but not least, Robecca Steam. And I gotta say, I had kind of lost hope for getting one because I had dilly-dally like a lackadaisical Johnny-come-lately and missed out because she actually sold out. But I actually had an opportunity to scoop her up from a trusted source on the secondhand market, which I really hate doing with new dolls because I don't want to encourage that kind of bad behavior in this here doll collecting community of doll collectors of ours. So I typically only travel down the dark and dangerous and murky backwood roads of the secondhand market for my vintage beauties. But it was a fair enough price and a rather serendipitous opportunity. Because at the time I got her, I wasn't actually seeking her out anymore. I had grieved her loss and moved on with my lonely, no robot doll having life. So I was actually out one day on the hunt for someone else to add to my collection. And unfortunately for me, it was someone that my source didn't have. But on a whim, he turned his tattooed face to me and casually said, "No, sorry bro, I don't have that one, but I just got this girl if you want her." And of course, it just happened to be the exact doll I needed to complete my Wave 4 collection. So I took a deep breath and I tried to ignore that his Jack Skellington gauges were like lopsided, paid the secondhand price, and brought this lady home. Because it isn't wise to ignore fate. So here she is. I mean, I couldn't not have a robot in my collection. I felt like all the other dolls were judging me for it, and frankly, they should. These gals, they keep me grounded. So I bought this lady in an attempt to make everything right in my doll world. So now that my doll karma has been balanced, I think it's time we got this lady out of the box and forced her to face the steampunk music. Starting with her box, and surprise, surprise, it fits the Wave 4 theme. We've got our little cutout here in the corner, right where it belongs, which of course for Robecca is in the shape of a cog wheel. We've got our stripes here in bronze and black and white that go around to the sides of the box. And of course the blazingly proud proclamation that this is indeed Monster High. It's got her name and progeny here with another one of those gear icons. And so with this, we know that Robecca is actually the daughter of a mad scientist. And I've always thought it was interesting that it says a mad scientist and not the mad scientist, implying the existence of an entire mad scientist network. Do I overanalyze? Moving on. Her cassette is a roller maze mixtape of what I'm assuming would be like skater rink music. And all I gotta say is it better include the song Another One Bites the Dust by Queen, because that was my skating jam back in the day. Nothing like precariously rolling around in circles in ill-fitting rented skates and poor lighting while the hits of the 80s blared from a crappy sound system. Moving on. She's of course in this wedge-shaped box with a message here at the top from Robecca, which reads, "My new friends have been very accepting and are scary sweet." On the wide side of her wedge box, we get an illustration of Robecca and her pet penguin, Captain Penny. The two of them are just rocketing off with their little jetpacks in search of adventure. And of course, the themes for all the girls in this wave continue with Rebecca's gear icon. And then we have Venus's flytrap over here. And you can also see Rochelle's fleur-de-lis on the back. Once again, Monster High in big, bold, proud letters in case you missed it the first time around on the front. And it's also got this same tag here as the rest of her Wave 4 sisters. Meet the frighteningly fashionable teenage children of the world's most famous monsters. Then of course, Rebecca's information blurb. Robecca is 116 years old, which really is just a kid in steampunk monster years. But let me just say this, of those 116 years, she was actually missing for quite some time. Remember in Friday Night Frights? After the roller race match, she was dismantled by the competition, and she was like scattered in pieces all around the scream track until that is Gulia, the smartest girl in school, found her and put her back together. So she might be 116 years old, but for much of her life, she was just spare parts. I don't know why, I feel like that's so tragic. She missed out on so much by basically being squirreled away in a junk drawer. Anyway, her pet is Captain Penny. As for what she's the captain of, we may never know. But Robecca's box specifically has this interesting little disclaimer here about Captain Penny. It says, working wings are not necessary when one is equipped with a rocket pack. And are we to interpret that as perhaps like some subtle penguin shade? Like, we know penguins can't fly on their own. We all know that, right? But we don't say it out loud. I mean, she's right here. And none of the other boxes in this wave put their pets' inadequacies on full blast like that, Robecca. But the shade doesn't stop there. She goes on to talk about her favorite food, and she says even though she doesn't require traditional food, she really does like ginger tea. And are we to interpret that as like some kind of like a humble brag? It's giving very, no thank you, I'm just not hungry like some dainty little bird-eating person. I mean, there's lots of foods that I don't necessarily require, but I still eat them. So should I be feeling attacked right now? Should I be feeling righteous indignation? Although let me just say this, I too love me some tea. Every night before I go to bed, I make myself a mug of like cinnamon chamomile mugwort tea for the vivid dreaming properties, because I like having weird dreams. So to this, I can relate. See, if we try hard enough, we can find common ground with almost anybody, even fictional fashion robots in high school. Moving on, her BFFs are Rochelle Goyle and Frankie Stein, which if you're anything like me, you might ask, why not Ghoulia? After all, it was Ghoulia who rescued her from complete obscurity. Ghoulia was the one who reassembled her and essentially brought her back to life, which she seemed grateful for. I mean, she really seemed keen to get her revenge on her tormentors by competing in the Roller Maze Championship as soon as she was like put back together. So I don't know, you think maybe she would just be much closer to Ghoulia. But anyway, her cassette says that her birthday is July 29th. So if she's 116 years old and she's a reproduction of a 2012 doll, then 2012 minus 116 equals a birth year of 1896, right? Which means that today, Robecca would have aged to 130 years old as of this coming July. And I tried to find something significant about that date that would maybe tie into her mechanical, robotic, engineering, jetpack, rocketeer, aeronautical theme. And here's what I found. July 29th is also NASA's birthday. So NASA was founded July 29th, 1958, almost one full solid year before the release of the very first Barbie doll. It all connects. But wait, so does that mean that we should thank the space age for the invention of Barbie? I mean, yeah, sure, innovative space travel that launched humanity into a new technological era, but also fashion dolls. Something I can actually use. Anyway, so is that the thing? Is that what we're going for here? Is this a NASA reference? Or since she's actually older than NASA, did the government specifically pick that date in reference to her contributions to science and engineering? NASA, comment down below. So anyway, that's that. A typical Wave 4 box. It's not anything new. It's not keeping any secrets from us. Let's bust this open and get this gal going, shall we? All right, she's free now, but I am going to start with her accessories first. Black Skullette brush with Monster High handle. You can never have too many of these. Basic black Monster High stand. Blah. Her blue timepiece purse, which hasn't worked right ever since she was tragically dismantled and hidden for decades while nobody looked for her until they needed a skating champion. But I do love that her little clock pendulum actually swings, because sometimes it's nice to not have to use my imagination. I like that it functions in objective reality. Anyway, her purse does open. It's just got this little clasp up here at the top, so she can carry all the spare parts with her that she could ever need. And of course, the aforementioned Penny with his molded brown goggles on top of his head and his little black jetpack, since we know all about his non-working wings. Everything on this guy is just a bunch of molded features, but you know what? They don't really need to be much more than that, because he is not the star of this show. And lastly, Robecca's diary. And it says, I'll blow my stack if you read my diary. So keep your nosy little paws off, because hasn't she been through enough? Okay, now for the main event. The lady herself. And we've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's just dive right in. Starting with her hair, she's got this really thick, luxurious black and blue hair that, while beautiful, maybe isn't the most practical thing for like jetpacking around the school. And imagine she's constantly fighting like the wind-blown factor. But these Monster High dolls will always choose faction over function, and we are the benefactors of that decision. And if you've watched my videos before, you know I'm no good at deciphering doll hair fiber. I just don't have the touch, but luckily this is the information age. And according to Google, this gal has, I don't know, some sources claim that it's actually saran, while others claim that it's polypropylene. So your guess is as good as mine. But in a quest for further information, the internet claims that the 2012 original had the dearly departed Kanekalon, may she rest in peace. So if you care about that sort of thing, there you go. A bunch of words with no practical information. Me in a nutshell. Look, all I know is it feels nice and it has pretty colors. And that's all I need. Anyway, she's got her coppery bronze aviation goggles with their radio antenna. Essentially, it's just functioning as a headband, so yay for versatility. What you picking up with that antenna anyway? Any signals from outer space? Onto her face, which like the rest of her body, is a gorgeous, slightly metallic bronze color. With these signature rivets like holding her faceplate in place, you can see they go all around and even under her chin. And that theme of hers, that theme of being assembled, actually carries on through her whole body. You can see some of it here on her chest, and then it goes down her arms, and you can see these plates here riveted together on her legs. And her calves famously have these little functioning cogwheels. Isn't that fun? She's got her bronze cogwheel shaped eyes lined in this real pretty lavender and fierce black eyebrows. But what I really love is this dramatic, dark, glossy lip. It's a beautiful, deep, rich purple color that is so gorgeous against her coppery, bronzy skin tone. And then her dangly cogwheel earrings featuring this timepiece here at the bottom. Her final accessory that she's wearing is this blue cuff with like a yellow control panel and these molded mechanical details all over it. As for her outfit, she's blazing through the sky wearing this cropped, almost vest style patent leather jacket with a ruffled high collar and short bronze trimmed sleeves, I guess to keep her warm on those chilly nights jetting around in search of adventure. Her dress is actually one piece all the way down, but it does have a few different things going on, starting with the bodice up here at the top. So her bodice is actually made up of two different materials. The top of her dress is this material fabric that transitions down here to a leather material. And both of them have stuck to her signature theme of the black and the blue with the, I guess, bronze color that's supposed to be. These geometric shapes here, and then of course a nod to her mechanical heritage. And then she's got this matte plastic blue cage fitted over the top of her underskirt. It's got more mechanical elements. You can see it's got like little cogwheels and stuff all over it. And underneath the cage is just a plain black pleather skirt down here at the bottom of her dress. Moving on down to her shoes, she has these incredible copper knee-high rocket boots with these little jet thrusters down here on the platform and also on the heel. And this is how she's able to kind of just buzz around all over the place. So they're more than just stylish, they are functional. Her boots have a ton of detail with these awesome wing flaps, and of course they're laced all the way to the top. It's got all these mechanical parts. Everything's just kind of molded and painted on, but it's still really, really cool. As for her articulation, if you've seen my videos at all, you know that I don't particularly care, but I'll do it for you, okay? She's got the basic G1 articulation. She's got her head, her shoulders that go out and back and forth, her little bendy elbow. Of course, she's got her wrists, her little bendy knees, and her hip joints that go out, back and forth, all around. And even though I don't really care too much about articulation, for this gal specifically, it actually might be kind of important because how else would she be able to dance the robot, the dance of her people? All right, y'all, that's it for Robecca today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I liberated yet another plastic pal from her cardboard cage. If you're still here, do me a favor, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join me in my doll journey as I navigate life in a terrifying world of adults that don't play with dolls. And let me know in the comments what you think of this gal. Leave some love in the comments for Miss Robecca. Do you have her? Are you gonna get her? Has she perhaps inspired you to start dressing in a steampunk aesthetic? Now, if you'll excuse me, Robecca is late for a roller championship, and I don't want her being dismantled and scattered around in a million places again. Bye!